Hey guys, SpaghettiNoob here. Today I want to talk about the Woodward Dream Cruise. For those of you who don't know, the Woodward Dream Cruise is an annual event that takes place on Woodward, which is M1, which I want to say, well, it's definitely the first paved road in Michigan, and I want to say in the United States and maybe the world, but I'm not sure about that. In any case, it's an annual event where people from all over the United States and the world come to drive on the first paved road, bringing typically their classic cars and driving down from downtown Detroit all the way to Pontiac, where Woodward ceases. It's a pretty cool event if you like cars. The local automotive companies, of course, have like their own little sections of the road where they, you know, have some of their vehicles on display and do other type of promotional events. The event usually takes place over like the course of a week. Usually, you know, a week before you start seeing some of the classic cars roll out, and then during the actual day of the event, it's usually a day, like a single day for the actual event, where you cruise and you go fairly slowly. I mean, it's dreadful to actually drive it unless you really have a cool car to show or you really like it. I'm a slight bias since I grew up near there, and traffic is just atrocious. But if you like cars, which like myself I do, vehicles, it is pretty cool, but I've been kind of burnt out from it. And I forgot that it actually took place this year due to being in a different location at the moment. But I wanted to share some experiences with the Dream Cruise and why I have a hate-love relationship with it. So, first off, they close up all the roads around it, and they also close off the highways, either restricted highways or freeways, whatever they're called in your area. So they close like those exits off within like a 5-mile radius of Woodward, or something like that. So it's like pretty much every major restricted highway and or freeway, whatever you want to call them again, that is along that path, those exits are closed. And if you live there, you have to go super out of your way just to get to your destination. So that's one of the, you know, pitfalls. The other thing is there's nowhere to park if you live near there, because everyone is parking in all the side streets along like the entire stretch. There's just nowhere to park at all. If you have to go anywhere that day, just add hours of time. So the first story I'd like to share, this was quite some time ago. I was sitting and playing some video games on the computer, but of course, and I have a window where I can look outside, and you know, like as cars pass by, you know, I kind of just glance and look over, and I saw, cause like I'm right by the window, so like I just turn my head and I see out the window. So at this certain point in time, it was maybe like, I don't know, maybe like 11 in the morning, maybe 10 to 12 p.m. of the day of the event, and I see a minivan, you know, come down our street, and we kind of park on the street so we can already take all our spots, so that way, you know, when the rest of the family would get home, we have enough room in our driveway and that sort of thing. so the people who come for the event don't take up all our spots. So this particular day, there happened to be a free spot to the house directly next to mine. And I see this minivan pull up into that spot. I'm like, oh, whatever, like no big deal. You know, we had all our spots already, and that one just, our neighbors went out and they didn't, you know, that spot was available. So the man gets out of the car and then he goes to the back of the minivan, opens the trunk, and takes out a cooler. He did that first. Then he goes around and swings to, you know, the sidewalk side and opens the sliding minivan door, and he takes out a young child. It was a little girl. I remember it was a cute little girl wearing like a pink dress. She had to be like maybe like 2 or 3. I mean, she was walking and she was holding his hand. So in one of his hands he had his little girl. On the other side of his hand he had the cooler, and you know, he was walking towards, I hope this guy is going I'm going straight, so if you're gonna turn, you can turn, but I'm going straight. Forgot what I was saying. Let's see. In one hand he had his girl, and then the other hand he had his cooler, which I'm assuming was full of like beers. And he was walking towards Woodward. And then, you know, hours pass on. You can hear the cars, you know, trekking down. You just hear some of them roaring and all that sort of fun stuff. And you hear like the commotion. And then it had to be like, it's summer, so what happens, the event takes place in August, so it had to be when it was kind of dark. So it had to be after 9 o'clock. So maybe 10 to 11. I want to say it's closer to 11 p.m. Let's see. Is that guy turning? Oh no, yeah. See, he was going straight. So it had to be like 10 to 11 p.m. at night. It was dark. I was also playing, you know, video games at the time, and I just happened to turn my head and look again, and I see that same guy walking with this girl in the cooler. I'm like, alright, whatever, you know, and I'm still playing my game, and then all of a sudden I hear a really loud thud, like it was like an explosion almost. And then I look at my brother, who was sitting next to me also playing. We have like a kind of like a little computer room where we would play video games together. I look at him and I was like, did you hear that? And we look outside and I see this minivan who had hit my neighbor's Jag. Like, I don't know, I don't remember exactly what kind it was, but I mean, it had to be like an $80,000 car at the time. Easily probably the nicest car on our block. And I look and I see this guy like backing out from hitting it. Like I didn't hear him hit it, but I saw him like backing out of it. And it was like big dent. And he was like it was in like a driveway. So he went in a driveway to turn around and he hit it somehow. And I just like run outside like as fast as I can to see what's going on. I didn't have a phone back then, I don't think. Pretty sure I didn't have a cell phone back then. I run outside and then I look to my right, which is where the noise came from, and he wasn't there. I see the damage. I run to the car and I see the damage. Like I clearly saw the damage there. And then I look to the left and I see another car, maybe like it was some SUV. I don't remember what kind, but it was like a big SUV, like going vertical like blocking the street, trying to block the minivan. And I was like, what the heck is this guy doing? And then I see the minivan, he's not stopping. He drives over the easement, like goes on the curb and goes, like there was a tree there too, like right on the boulevard. And he's driving like halfway, and the minivan's like this. It's like, it's banked because the guy is on the curb trying to avoid the guy who's blocking him in the street, because the guy in the street saw. And like, I can't believe what I'm like witnessing. Like, there's this guy who hit a car, he's trying to do a hit and run. Then there's this good Samaritan who's trying to block him in like the most dangerous way. I mean, like, I guess what else other way you would block him? You would think the guy would stop, but he drove on the curb. And I was like, holy crap, this guy has a little girl in there. So like I'm running, and I'm running toward, after I'm like watching this, I'm running towards the guy. And the guy eventually goes over the boulevard and passes the car who was like vertical. Like, there's no way, like you see right here in front of me, like he's going, even though it's like a side, like a residential street, he's blocking it, and there's no way the car can pass unless he drives over the curb. So like I'm running towards this, and like my brother followed me out, and like, but he like didn't, he like wasn't like in the sense of urgency that I was. So I go up and go into the car that's blocking him, and this guy like swings open the door like in the movies, and the passenger, he was like, hey, this guy just hit a car. I was like, yeah, I know, I saw, like I heard. I was like, he's like, was it your car? I was like, no, it was my neighbor's. And the guy was like, get in, let's go get him. Can you guess what I did next? Like, this is this thing that you are not supposed to do. Do not do what I did. People listening. It was just like so crazy, like anti-intuitive of everything that they teach you. Don't get in a car with strangers. So that is exactly what I did. I went in a car with this complete stranger that I've never seen in my life. But I don't know if it was adrenaline or just like maybe the form of justice, or maybe just try to protect the little girl. I was like, I trust this guy somehow or another. Like, I took a decent look at him, but I was like, whatever, you know? Like, we need to get this guy. And he had the same idea that I had. He was trying to block him. So I think morally, I had already made a justification in my head that this guy was, you know, was safe to get in the car with him, even though I wasn't expecting to get in the car with this man. And I jumped in the car, and the guy like peels out fast, and then like I didn't even check to see like my family, and I just see my brother like back there, and like I think he put his like hands in the air, like, what the hell is this guy doing? Like, what is my brother doing? Like, what's going on? So I go and I start talking to the guy, and I was like, yeah, man, I told him like what happened, and he's like, yeah, I was just visiting my grandma, you know, and he's like, we can't let this guy get away. So, oh, you know what? I think I had my mom's phone or something like that. I definitely didn't have a phone, but for whatever reason, I think I had her phone because I was like fixing it or something. And this was before camera phones were like, I think they may have been like around, but the quality like was terrible. But anyway, we followed the guy. He did go back down Woodward, and he's driving like crazy. Like, he's driving like he's drunk. Like, this man was definitely under the influence. And we drove, and like we finally like caught up with him. Well, we never kind of really lost him, should I say. But like, we weren't trying to get super close. We didn't want to endanger, you know, his driving, or the little, like, endanger the girl while he was driving, especially if he thought someone was following him. So we're following him, and then we finally get close enough at a stoplight where I can try and take a picture, but again, camera phones were so terrible back then. I took a picture and I could barely read it. And my eyes are terrible. So the driver, he reads it off to me, and I just I type it down in like a text message, but I didn't send it. I just like typed it in there so I have it. And then after we finally got him, we were like, yeah, we got the license plate, we got the make and model of the vehicle, we got a assumed year. Excuse me. After we got that, and I was getting ready to call the cops, and the guy's like, hey man, are you gonna call the cops? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, hey, can you hold on a bit when you call the cops? And I'm like, I was like, I guess, sure, why? But he's like, right here, we gotta call the cops. He's like, I have some weed on me, and I don't want them to, stop, get me and stop me. And I was like, and it just like made things like this full circle so hilarious. And like, so like, holy crap, I did get in the car with a stranger. My brain mortally justified jumping in the car because we tried to do, some good. But then he was like, all right, I got some drugs on me, that's cool, nothing big, no biggie, I got drugs. And this is before like marijuana was really as okay as it is today. I mean, I don't agree with it or wouldn't do it or whatever, but that's gonna be for a different video. But this guy had some, and I respected what he asked, and I was like, yeah, sure, no problem, man. So then, like, after we left the car, because we wanted to go back home so I can call the cops right away, because we want the cops to catch him. I don't know, going back, I was talking to him, and he said he lives, like, his grandma lives on my street, and it turned out that his grandma was relatives of my uncle, and he was actually my cousin's cousin, so he wasn't technically my blood, but he was, my family, like my family's family, right? And it was like the coolest thing, like figuring that out. And I was like, oh, no way. And then he was like, he knows all the same people that I know, right? Because he's related to them. And it's like, holy crap, like, this is a small world. And then after, when I called the cops came back, and they got like my official report, and they looked the license plate up in the database, and they said they couldn't find it. And I was like, oh, what do you mean? I was like, we must have missed something, whether it was an I, an L, a 1, O, or a 0, I don't know. And then, I went back, went on with my day, continued to play video games. So maybe like 2 o'clock at night, and we get it like, I don't even remember if our doorbell rang, but someone was at the door, and it was the cops, and they asked to speak to me, and they're like, hey, we actually caught the individual, and like, he was like ways away, like he almost got away, he was far, and he failed the breathalyzer test, he told me, and they had to take him to jail, and they took his daughter into custody, and they were able to find him with the numbers we gave him due to like a partial plate matching. So we did actually end up succeeding, and the most important thing was that the little girl was safe. And he's like, I need you to sign, an affidavit, and if you're willing to, appear in court, you got to do all these things because, you're the one who called, and like, this was like something really serious because there was a minor involved, his little girl. So I was like, yeah, sure. So I wrote out like an official statement, and I signed it, and I signed the affidavit. So what ended up happening is the guy, they didn't tell me what happened, but he did have a trial, and he was arraigned. I'm not sure if he served jail time or not. They didn't let me know, but my statement was used in court, but I didn't actually have to go to court and like give a witness, like be a witness or anything, because that's what the affidavit was for. So that was all from the Dream Cruise. Like, come on, guy. Like, one, you're not a responsible adult, and more importantly, you're not a responsible parent. Like, sure, you can go enjoy this event, but you need a DD if you have a child with you. You need a DD regardless, so you don't injure other people. But so like he not only endangered himself, the surroundings, but his daughter, like a little baby. So that's one of the reasons why I hated the Dream Cruise. That's probably one of the most extreme scenarios. But man, I can never forget that. And then when I got home, like, my family was like, what were you thinking? You don't know this person. Why do you get in a car with this person? You don't know who this is. Like, did you not learn anything, like, from anything when you were growing up as a child? Like, did you not learn, don't go in the car with strangers, don't do this, don't do that? And I was like, I told them, I was like, I don't know, I just felt something told me to get in, something told me to get in this, you know, the car.